All right. So what happened just now? And probably like no one's watching this right now, as against to like no one watching the other show. Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm trying to get people who are watching the other show onto this show. Yeah, and that's difficult. Needed to make new show. Head over to next video. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if anyone's going to be here, to tell you the truth. And if it isn't, then maybe I'm just going to do the open. Okay, so people are showing up. People are showing up, and that's good. D Parks, how you doing? So D, so it's just you and me right now, right? It's me. Okay, so it's just the three of us. So this is what happened. Then I was trying to do something technically adept, right? I was syncing up my right. I was trying to sync up my right hand and my left hand, and I was going to do this really cool opening where, I don't know if you can hear it, right? Something like this with the organ, and I was gonna show one of my, I do the show alone, right? Of course, I do it with you all here, but I have Pocket God with me. Pocket God. I was going to show you, introduce Pocket God. He's really what's called hot right now because of the lighting. But this is Andy does jokes, right? And I was trying to do a joke, and it would have worked out really well. But you see what happened is that I hit the wrong freaking button. I hit the wrong button. That was my inner organ. That's right. That was my inner organ. This is my kid's piano, and I'm on student, and you can probably tell right now. Why am I so high? I don't know, man. I'm going to turn down the light. Global, yeah, just don't hit the big red button that says global nuclear war. That's a wise choice. So I had a lot of things going on here. I'm in Studio A. I'm calling this Studio A right now because I like to sound pretentious, right? I like to sound pretentious. So this is Studio A. I'm thinking this is going to be our consistent home. That doesn't mean I won't bring the green screen down every once in a while or use the green screen for bits. But so I moved the stuff from the third floor to the second floor. And then I was playing around with the organ, and then I was thinking, wow, how cool would it be? This is like within the last 5 minutes too, the 5 minutes before 9. I'm like thinking about doing something cool with the organ, and then with my Pocket God here that I got for my birthday. I got a bunch of these little finger puppets, and this is Pocket God. You look pretentious with those books. Well, wait till you see me with my new glasses, everyone. I'm going to look super pretentious. So there you go. Don't worry. You just have to listen to me for a couple of minutes, and you'll realize that I'm just a fool. All right, everyone. So yes. So if you're just tuning in, what happened was that I was trying to be clever with the opening, and I was hitting buttons with my left hand and hitting other keys with my right hand. And I canceled myself. I canceled the first show. Yeah, I canceled myself. And don't play with your organ. You'll go blind. Thank you, John Hudson. Thank you. Which one of the books have I read? I've actually read quite a few. These are my girlfriend's books over here. The Age of Voltaire, The Cousins' Wars, which you will hear me, refer to every once in a while. Let's see, what else? The Great Terror, Stalin book. Oh, this Barbara Tuchman book. The March of Folly, From Troy to Vietnam, worth reading. Guns. What I found disappointing, are we just talking about my personal library? What I found disappointing about Guns, Germs, and Steel is that you only have to read the first maybe 100 pages, and then it's just a reiteration of those points. Yeah. Some of these books are from, when I was doing graduate school work. So I have the Mensheviks, a book about the Mensheviks. a bunch of my girls. Of course, I have this copy of Dune I've had since high school. This copy of Dune I've had since high school, and it's near and dear to my heart, to tell you the truth, everyone. All right, but you're not here. No, Dr. Seuss, no. All right, so let's talk about what we need to talk about. Thank you for those of you who followed me over from the first show, because the first show I self-canceled. I canceled myself by mistake. I'm going to try to get the technical aspects running a little bit smoother in the future. So thanks for showing up, everyone. Who else is in D Parks, Cryptomeria, Scott Duke, John Hudson? Yeah, thanks for following me, guys. Dr. Mordecai. Yeah. Simply Secular Dave. Simply Secular Dave, are you going to be joining us? I believe you're going to be joining us this weekend for Atheists Drinking Out Loud. We're doing that on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of alcohol, and it should be a good time. You know, Neil the 604 Atheist is popping in, as he always does. Seamus from Free Thought Profit show, he'll be popping on. And we have we have not just, if Dave's coming on with us, which would be pretty awesome, which I think he is, West Coast Dave, Secular Dave. We also have another guest coming on too. So we're going to have 4 people. We're going to have 4 people on the show on Saturday, Atheists Drinking Out Loud. I think we're on like episode 14. So it should be, that copy of Dune is well read. I've read that several times. Enjoyed it quite a bit. All right. And actually I had to get rid of, and I have a nice little copy of it here too, which is, if you haven't read the book is far better than the recent miniseries. Well, the recent movies, definitely superior. All right, so what are we doing? I just talked about Atheists Drinking Out Loud. Do I have any other, kind of announcements? I don't. Oh, we should do something funny. I'm already in the show, and I didn't even do the intro funny video. So let's do that, huh?
So I asked her if she'd like to go out again this Saturday, and she said maybe. Yeah, that's a no. She said maybe. Which means no. No, maybe's a maybe. Maybe's not a maybe. No means no. Maybe means no. Sure means no. Yes means maybe. Whoa. You know what also means no? What? If the yeah goes up and then down. Yeah. That's a no? That's a no. No way. Same if it goes down then up. Yeah. Also a no? Also a no. How do you know all this? The nose.
All right. Now we're back into the flow of the normal show, everyone. If this is your first time here, what's the last rule of Fight Club? If this is the first time you're here, you have to fight. No, that's not this kind of show. We are running, we in the royal sense of we, and also my compatriots. And if you, an open room at 10 o'clock. If you want to join the panel, we'll just talk about anything you want to talk about, to tell you the truth. That's at 10 o'clock. The link, oh my fictitious God, the link was in the description of the previous show. There's no descriptions whatsoever in this particular show because I had to restart it. But if you look at the old show, and if you look at the next show at 10 a.m., you'll see the link to get on the panel there, everyone. All right, one more look at the chat before we start doing memes. Oh, believe me, this has probably been the funniest show I've done so far, right, Scott Duke? Boyd bought a bottle of 18-year-old Jameson. Tastes just like honeydew, like water. How'd he survive my... Oh, hey, dude. David Paul. Survived my heart catheter. Still don't believe in God. Yeah. All the times I've had close calls with death, I have never thought about God. Yeah. As many of you have heard the story about how I've gotten held up twice at gunpoint. I didn't think about God at all when I was being held up. When my grandfather died right in front of me and I was giving him CPR. I should have prefaced this with, by the way, I have a funny story. Yeah, that time when I was 19 and my granddad died right in front of me and I was giving him CPR, I was not thinking about the Trinity. Oh, I know. There's that whole football thing going on over there, right? I keep seeing it in my news feed. I keep seeing it. The huge competition going on over there. All right, we're going to do memes. Let's do it. Should I? All right. Stories. What are the news stories? Clarence Thomas and marijuana. Who would have thought Clarence Thomas is pro-pot? I wouldn't have. Did you know, my European friends and my non-American friends did, and also probably a lot of my friends here in the States don't know this. Did you know that there's a travel ban between states? That California has banned travel for 17 states? Okay, state-funded travel, but still, I found it odd and interesting, worthy to talk about. We're going to talk about the Delta variant, of course, and we're going to talk about YouTube. We're going to talk about YouTube banning Right-Wing Watch. As many of you know, Right-Wing Watch does great work. It exposes televangelists, fascists, white supremacists, and they had a ban. And they had a ban on them. So we're going to talk about on YouTube. So we're going to talk about all those things. Let's do memes first, everyone. Write 5 words you can spell. 5 words you can spell. And you know the best thing about the teacher, assuming that this is a real thing, not just a prank, that they wrote down, very clever, and gave them an extra 2 points. So that's brilliant. If this is true, if this is real and not a bit, that kid, brilliant. Next meme. It's cat-related meme, everyone. How to be a good cat. Keep your human warm. Wash your human. Keep your human active. And make sure your human is not late for work. To tell you the truth, one of the reasons why I get up early is that my cat is bothering my girlfriend. The cat is attacking the girlfriend's feet. So I'm thinking the best way for me to stop this from occurring is for me to get up out of bed, and then the cat will follow me downstairs. Such are the things you do for love. And the last meme, I don't know what you would call this animal. Catosaurus, Felinosaurus, or just hilarious. I don't know, everyone. All right, I'm going to check out the chat one more time before we actually go into the news stories. When I had a hard cath, I distracted myself by noticing the pattern. Oh, wow. Well, how about that, Phil Lister? Well, yes, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Oh, good to see you, B. Glad to see you. Catzilla, indeed. All right, first story, everyone. First story. Clarence Thomas says federal laws against marijuana may no longer be necessary. I wouldn't think that Clarence Thomas would be the voice of reason. Usually, whenever there's a crackpot decision, a right-wing decision written by the court, if there's only one justice saying something crazy, the smart money is on Clarence Thomas. But Clarence Thomas voicing the obvious that perhaps federal laws regarding marijuana are silly. Well, not his words. What were his words? No longer necessary. Let's take a look at the story. Clarence Thomas, one of the Supreme Court's most conservative justices, said Monday that because of the hodgepodge of federal policies on marijuana, federal laws against its use or cultivation may no longer make sense. Quote, a prohibition on interstate use or cultivation of marijuana may no longer be necessary or proper to support the federal government's piecemeal approach, unquote, he wrote. His views came as the court declined to hear the appeal of a Colorado medical marijuana dispensary that was denied federal tax breaks that other businesses are allowed. So, welcome to the States. Yes, in like Colorado, Massachusetts, other states have recreational marijuana. However, because they're still considered illegal by the IRS, they don't get tax advantages that, let's say, a liquor store would have. Thomas said in the Supreme Court's ruling in 2005 upholding federal laws making marijuana possession illegal may now be out of date. Federal policies of the last 16 years have greatly undermined its reasoning, he said. The federal government's current approach is a half-in, half-out regime that simultaneously tolerates and forbids local use of marijuana. 36 states now allow medical marijuana, and 18 also allow recreational use. But federal tax law does not allow marijuana businesses to deduct their business expenses. If you run a YouTube channel, if you're online, if you're running a business, you know how important it is to deduct your expenses from whatever bit you make. And marijuana companies, marijuana businesses cannot do that. It puts them at a significant disadvantage. Under this rule, a business that is still in the red after it pays its workers and keeps the lights on might nonetheless owe substantial federal income tax, Thomas said. The Department of Justice has instructed the nation's federal prosecutors not to pursue cases against marijuana businesses that follow state law. And since 2015, Congress has prohibited the Justice Department from spending federal money to prevent states from carrying out their own laws. However, the IRS still continues to enforce its own rules against growers and dealers. How crazy is that? The federal government tells the DOJ, the Department of Justice, not to give pot growers a hard time. But yet the IRS is still, in effect, persecuting people in the marijuana business here. Madness. Check out the chat. Let's see. Tesla Ranger says, he probably tried it once and thought, this ain't that bad, or this isn't so bad. Phil Lister, I don't use weed. Don't like the smell. That's less trouble than drugs. I think, when you compare the social cost of alcohol versus the social cost of marijuana, they are in different categories. They are in different categories. Much more harm done with alcohol than marijuana. All things being equal. The laws never made sense. You're right, David Paul. They never did. Well, that's the thing, right, Cryptomaria? There hasn't been a huge crime wave when marijuana has been legalized. If anything, the reasoning goes, if you're putting legalized marijuana out on the streets, illegal gangs, illegal enterprises are actually going to be making less money off of it. When you illegalize something, you create a black market for the product. Oh, Cryptomaria. Yeah, you obviously know the story about Right Wing Watch, which we're going to cover. Hey, what's up, Rage? Rage, I don't know how much time you have. You got me. I don't know if it's going to trigger Rage because his channel got demonetized pretty much for what Right Wing Watch got into trouble for. So I'm going to just jump to that story. How's that? Because I got the angers reading this about YouTube and Right Wing Watch. Hey, Vesta. I'm surprised that you found us. Not unhappy. Oh, yeah. Wacky Canadian weather yesterday. Newfoundland had frost warning overnight while British Columbia had 46 degrees Celsius. Isn't that like 100? Over 100? I think that's over 100. All right, I'm just going to jump over to the Right Wing Watch story. This is from Hemant Mehta, Friendly Atheist. Here we go. YouTube permanently bans Right Wing Watch, a watchdog site exposing extremism. This is an updated story from Hemant, by the way. So this is the update. YouTube has reinstated Right Wing Watch's account, but it should not have taken the internet outrage. It should not have taken internet outrage to get YouTube to do the right thing, especially when Right Wing Watch had already privately appealed the decision to ban them days ago. The only reason why Right Wing Watch is back on YouTube is because people screamed about it. There are channels that get screwed by YouTube. and they don't have a large enough following. And so they have no recourse. They have no recourse. Thankfully, Right Wing Watch, which does great work, had enough people behind it screaming to get it back on the platform. All right, here we go. Yet another sign. So once again, they have been reinstated, but this is the backstory to the banning. And yet another sign that YouTube's algorithm is seriously broken. The website banned Right Wing Watch, effectively erasing years of videos, keeping tabs on the words and actions of conservative extremists. Meanwhile, many of the original videos from the extremists remain on the site. Kylie Mantiala, senior fellow at Right Wing Watch, posted screenshots this morning of emails he received from YouTube saying it had found severe or repeated violations of our community guidelines. It's like a Star Chamber Kafka mashup whenever you interact with either Facebook or YouTube about appealing decisions, and they bring out you're doing something against community standards. And what that means in real life is that you're screwed. Barely any recourse. So here's a screenshot. Our efforts to expose the bigoted view and dangerous conspiracy theories spread by right-wing activists has now resulted in YouTube banning our channel and removing thousands of our videos. We attempted to appeal this decision and YouTube rejected it. And you can find the original tweet right on Twitter by Right Wing Watch. But Right Wing Watch doesn't post original content on the channel. It posts clips from pastors and political figures saying outlandish things during speeches and interviews that many other people aren't watching. In other words, Right Wing Watch is being punished for the actions of the very extremists they're working to expose. YouTube's algorithm appears to be punishing them for promoting hate speech, not realizing the intent behind sharing those clips, while letting the original hate speech exist in context of a sermon or interview. There are other outlets, including Twitter and Vimeo, where those video clips can be posted, but there are thousands of videos that Right Wing Watch posted on YouTube over several years, which are currently inaccessible to the public. That's a victory for the extremists, whose awful rhetoric can now go down a memory hole. All this happened, by the way, even as Right Wing Watch avoided posting anything on its YouTube channel precisely to avoid this action, as reported by Justin Baragona of the Daily Beast. Mantiala said that YouTube recently gave Right Wing Watch's channel, which has approximately 60,000 subscribers, 2 strikes in April over videos it posted, prompting the watchdog to refrain from posting more content to the site until the strikes dropped off after 90 days. Right Wing Watch had largely relied on rival platform Vimeo to host its videos in the meantime. So, Right Wing Watch, they had 2 strikes in April, and they're like, we're just going to play it cool. We're just going to wait out 90 days, and then we can start uploading videos again. But this is what happens when you have a bunch of, I'm trying to think of the appropriate curse words, jerks, assholes. This is what happens when these large platforms don't pay attention to what they're doing. Or when they do pay attention, they just screw you over. And then they found some video from 8 years ago that they flagged, took down, and that was our 3rd strike, he explained. And they took down our entire account. So Right Wing Watch, they weren't posting videos, but someone at YouTube went through their catalog of videos, found something from 8 years ago, gave them their 3rd strike, and that's what got them banned off the platform. According to Mantiala, the 3rd strike occurred last week, and the channel was taken down at that point. Notification that their appeal was rejected, however, wasn't sent until Monday morning, when Right Wing Watch went public about the ban. How is it possible for a company as big as YouTube to have no one in position of power to prevent something like this from happening? You see, that's not a glitch of the system, Hemant, if I was going to talk to Hemant about it. That's not a glitch of the system, I think. that the social media platforms like Facebook and YouTube, they're getting large enough that they want to keep as many advertisers on their platform as possible. So they are pruning content, right? I've had on this channel a number of people who've talked about their problems with Facebook, for example. I've had my issues with Facebook. I haven't gotten banned. I've gotten shadow banned. I've had my my Facebook page, Laughing in Disbelief, the Facebook page, restricted in terms of what can be, how many people the content goes out to. This isn't a small channel, and it's certainly not a small problem. The inability to distinguish hate speech from people trying to expose hate speech shouldn't be this difficult to discern. This isn't the first time hate speech has been allowed to thrive either. Whose side is YouTube on? Well, YouTube is on YouTube's side. This is the problem with having a for-profit company. They want profits, and profits, what pushing this algorithm is what is pruning off content. The same thing with Facebook, at least in my opinion. We'll see what's going on in the chat. All right, I'm going to go back to, you looked at the article, yeah, so basically this is the same piece. And I thought of you as soon as I read the piece from Hemant, Friendly Atheist. I thought about you, Rage. All right, let's see. I'm starting to think Andy needs a taxidermied frog in the shelf behind him. Well, that's okay, maybe. I mean, if you want to, I am making a Amazon wish list, so maybe I'll just put down taxidermied frog. What's it? 146 degrees Celsius equals 115 degrees Fahrenheit. That's crazy. All right. I'm just checking out the chat here. Checking out. Here it is. YouTube denied me monetization even after the appeal. They literally consider confronting and debunking the same as speaking hate speech. And this is the thing. Rage has what, 3,000 subscribers. He does great content. Right Wing Watch, 60,000. That's the only difference between what they are, between how YouTube interacts with them. There was enough complaining for the fans of Right Wing Watch to get YouTube to get them back on the platform. Good morning, imaginary God. Imaginary God, good morning. I have real God here. I have Pocket God. Pocket God. Right here. He'll be showing up in some of my more uploaded videos in the future. All right. You want to do the halftime tummy rub show? Let's do the halftime tummy rub show, everyone. Oh, and please like the video. I know this is just the video that I dropped that I'm doing because I screwed up the last video. But if you could like it, I'd appreciate it. And this is your first time here, please subscribe.
I studied rocket science in college. There's actually not that many careers for a rocket scientist. You can either work at NASA in Florida or you can make bombs. And that choice made me realize how many lives I was willing to destroy to avoid living in Florida.
That would be a tough decision for me personally. I think if it was rocket science, I think I might go international. I don't think I would want to move to Florida or make bombs. Maybe I'd go somewhere else. Of course, funny joke by a funny guy. Rub your tummy and pat your head. That's just too much. Dave, you saw what happened. You saw what happened when I tried to work this simple chord, right? When I was trying to do that and do the show at the same time, I killed the show. I can't do those things at the same time. You have a pocket god too, imaginary god. I see what you did there. Very good. All right, so how far along are we in the show? We got plenty of time for everything else, everyone. Plenty of time. What's the next one? What's the next bit we're going to be doing? California bans state-funded travel to 5 new states over anti-LGBTQ laws. Yes, believe it or not, states can ban travel to other states here in the U.S. Let's just look into the story. California will ban state-funded travel to 5 new states over their discriminatory LGBTQ laws. State Attorney General Rob Bonta announced Monday, citing the importance of aligning our dollars with our values. The new travel restrictions target Arkansas. Arkansas? I want some applesauce in Arkansas. Arkansas, Florida, Montana, North Dakota, and West Virginia over what the Attorney General's office is calling dangerous new laws that directly work to ban transgender youth from playing sports, block access to life-saving care, or otherwise limit the rights or members of the LGBTQ community. The additional travel restrictions mean that California now has banned state-funded travel to 17 states under Assembly Bill 1887. The bill prohibits the state from requiring employees to travel to a state subject to 1887's travel prohibition. Well, no shit. As well as prohibits California from approving a request for state-funded or state-sponsored travel to such a state, according to the state attorney general's office. It does not apply to personal travel. So yeah, so there's a travel ban, but of course you can, as a private citizen, you can still travel to those states. You just cannot use state-funded money. So if you're a college professor, if you're a university professor, and you're going to a conference or a meeting, it is a good possibility you're not going to be able to use funds from the state for that trip. While California Attorney General's office said the ban applies to all state-funded travel, there are exceptions. For example, if travel is required to maintain grant funding or licensure, or for auditing and revenue collection of purposes. So in other words, if there's money involved. The state attorney general's office told CNN in a statement that it's ultimately up to each California agency, including universities, to make determinations about the steps they'll need to take to comply with AB 1887. So it's up to the universities of different state institutions. However, if they don't comply, you would imagine that they could get themselves into trouble. Advocacy groups have already called 2021 a record-breaking year for anti-LGBTQ legislation, with at least 23 states having introduced more than 100 bills that aim to curb the rights of transgender people across the country. According to data from the Human Rights Campaign, one of the nation's largest LGBTQ advocacy groups, at least 117 bills have been introduced in the current legislative session that target the transgender community. It's the highest number the organization has recorded since it began tracking anti-LGBTQ legislation more than 15 years ago. The majority of bills would affect transgender youth, a group that researchers and medical professionals warn is already susceptible to high rates of suicide and depression. So California, if you're a state employee, it's a good chance you won't be able to use state money to travel to Arkansas, or Arkansas, as the case may be. I wonder if there's Arkansas in Arkansas. I don't know. Checking out the chat here. Good question, Dave. When you stick your finger into your puppet's god hole, doesn't mean that they're timeless, spaceless, and immaterial. Asking for a Christian friend. That's a good question. That's a good question. All right. So no, for those of you here in the States who aren't acquainted with what's going on in Hungary and Poland, yeah. The last time I heard, Phil Lister, and you probably know this more than I do, is that the EU is considering some kind of action against Hungary at the very least about its LGBTQ laws and policies. All right, let's see what's going on here. Is Sammy Jenkins here? Oh, Sammy Jenkins. Hello, hello. It's Arkansas. All right. I think I'm caught up with everyone. If you liked both videos, thank you, Scott Duke. Thank you for liking both videos. It is appreciated. All right. So what are we doing here? Well, so lucky to live in Canada. I am so nervous about discrimination in the States. Yeah, apparently, yeah, it's a state-by-state issue. It's a state-by-state issue, unfortunately. You doubt that Hungary will suffer any effects from the EU? You know, you got to ask. Yeah, well, I was about to wax philosophic about what's the purpose of a country if it can't protect the rights of its citizens. Right? I mean, you know, if I was going to put on my Thomas Jefferson hat, I would say something along the line, and the Big L Libertarian hat. Every once in a while, I put on the Big L Libertarian hat, everyone. Please forgive me. That governments are there to protect the rights of its people, right? That's a novel idea. That's a nice concept, that governments are instituted to protect the rights of its citizens, all of its citizens. All right. I'm going to share a video about, you're going to find it hard to believe, everyone, that some Republicans are making money off of the big lie. Some Republicans are making money of the Arizona vote audit debacle that's going on. I'm going to show a video, and we're going to show how big the con is, because you think it's a big con, but it's a lot bigger con than you may suspect. So let me see if I can hit buttons without actually shutting the show down. That would be nice, wouldn't it? All right. This happy video is an Arizona election circus becomes a money-making scheme and grifter magnet. And away we go.
Whatever its announced results are going to be, and however Trump world is going to react when Arizona says whatever it was, the results, whatever it is the results are of this process, whatever else happens here, it does appear clear at this point that many figures in Trump world have figured out how to make a ton of money off of this thing. Here, for example, is a man named Patrick Byrne. He's a pro-Trump conspiracy theorist. He had to leave his job as CEO of Overstock.com after it was revealed that he'd had an affair with a woman named Maria Butina, who was later convicted of being a Russian agent. Yeah, I don't know. Patrick Byrne wrote a book about election fraud. And how he thinks the 2020 election was stolen, and he's of course made a bunch of money on that book. He's now, in addition to that, made a movie about this supposed election fraud, and he seems to be making a ton of money on that. This movie stars the whole cast of characters from the Arizona audit debacle. They're all on camera explaining all the fantastical ways in which they're sure that the 2020 election was rigged and stolen from Donald Trump. But I said they're making money on it because look at how they're distributing this thing. Just to watch a live stream of the premiere of this movie, you had to pay $45. You can also pay a minimum of $500 to license it and host your own screening of it. Patrick Byrne is also now doing a pay-to-subscribe blog where he just blogs about the election being stolen. He's apparently, according to calculations by the Washington Post, on track to make about $1.5 million himself just from people subscribing to read his blog posts about his election conspiracy theories. I mean, between the book about the supposed election fraud and the movie that costs between $45 and $500 to watch about the supposed election fraud and his pay to read my blog post thing about the election fraud, dude is making enough money off of these claims for election fraud that he is now employing Trump National Security Advisor and convicted felon Mike Flynn. He employs Mike Flynn to full-time talk about the supposed election fraud. That's his job now. And you know what the worst of all of this is for Donald Trump? None of that money is going to him. We all have learned in this much time that he hates it when people make money off him that he could be making. But sure enough, the Washington Post reports that according to several Trump advisors, he is, quote, annoyed at all the groups that are now raising money off of his rhetoric about the election being stolen. But it really is so lucrative. Every grifter worth their salt is drawn to this Arizona circus or wherever the next fake audit is going to be. And once the audit has become, just a money-making thing, because however much Trump is hanging on it, it's not actually going to get him reinstated as president. Once it's just something that's designed to rile people up enough that they're willing to be parted from their money. And that becomes the not just sort of side hustle here, but the main purpose of what's going on here. As that has increasingly sort of taken over in terms of what's happening in Arizona, there are increasingly zero qualms about just going full hardcore conspiracy theory.
Well, you know, there's big money in stupid, everyone. There's big money. You think to yourself, what are America's exports? Entertainment, the military-industrial complex, and big stupid. Phil Lister. I love this comment, Phil, because I ask myself this constantly. Can people really be that stupid? Yes. Yes. Horribly, horribly stupid. You can pay the man $500 so that you can stream this video of lies, of the big lie, of the Arizona debacle. And oh my fictitious God, he's paying people so that they can read his crappy blog. Neil, the 604 atheist, is glad to see you, sir. Yeah, not hungover. Not hungover from Saturday, but we are. Neil, who's our mystery guest? We can talk about our guest. We have like a couple of people joining us. We have West Coast Dave, I believe, is popping in, but we have another guest that's going to be on Atheist Drinking Out Loud on Saturday. Let's start a cult. Oh, there's money. There's money in that. There's big money. So, hey, Paul Kamish, glad to see that you're here. I want to let you guys know too, let everyone know that I am thinking about, because it appears that people can do super chats and become members of the channel without me monetizing or hitting the little monetization button on the videos. So I'm just more than likely just not going to be running ads anymore. And it's going to be completely sponsored by you all. I should have probably made that announcement earlier today, but I've been leaning towards it. So I think ads suck. I don't like watching ads. I don't like, watching my own ads when I'm watching my own show, because sometimes I do that, right? And that's ridiculous. So I am probably you like that idea. Yeah. So no ads, but you could always just become patrons. You do super chats. I believe you'd still be able to do a super chat, even if the video isn't officially running ads. So yeah. Yeah, so that's what's going on here. And it's interesting. We should talk about the Roma, because a lot of people here in the States don't understand who the Roma are. Roma are what the group, which were once called Gypsies. And the reason why I am mentioning that is because Wild Eden, who is half Hungarian, which I did not know, is that the Prime Minister of Hungary is a lunatic, from what I understand, right-wing leader, and they persecute the Gypsy, the Roma population in particular. The Roma have been the whipping boys of Europe for quite a long time. So it's good just to go over that. Going over the basic principles, I think, is important. I should try that $500 thing. Yeah. And John Hudson says, I prefer sending money through secret Swiss bank accounts. I like that idea. John Hudson, I like that idea. How are we doing for time? 9:45. All right. Quick quiz, everyone. This is the name of the last story that I'm going to be covering today. The Delta variant will cause very dense outbreaks in these 5 states. Which are the 5 states that are going to be hit hard? That this particular expert, is saying. What are the 5 states that you think are going to be hit super hard by the Delta variant? Winners get 5 points. If you can name all 5 states, wow, that would be like 25 points, right? So you name the states, each state that you guess correctly, you'll get 5 points. How's that? Because I'll tell you this, it is going to be, I think it's safe to say that not a lot of blue states are going to be on the list. Do I know what's on the list? Yeah, I've read the story, of course. I have slides and everything all set up. So I'll bet one of them is Arkansas. oh, that would probably be a You get your Arkansas in Arkansas with a bunch of COVID too. Yes, Phil Lister. I'm going to show you what I understand about Roma is that I believe they were originally from India from a long time ago, and that I'm not surprised that the language that they speak is based from Sanskrit. Of course, we all know, maybe, that Latin also has a relationship with Sanskrit too. That they are part of the same language tree. All right. We got a couple of good guesses here from people. All right. I'm going to make the declaration, going to be stating what those 5 states are. Once again, the Delta variant will cause very dense outbreaks in these 5 states, expert says, and here they come. The Delta variant, a strain of COVID-19 believed to be more transmissible and dangerous than others, is likely to break out in some U.S. communities, a health expert told CBS's Face the Nation. It's not going to be pervasive, Dr. Gottlieb, a former commissioner of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, said Sunday. It's going to be hyper-regionalized. There's going to be certain pockets of the country where you will have very dense outbreaks. Those pockets will be ones with low vaccination rates and low rates of prior infection, Gottlieb said, like in many rural and southern communities. All right. I like David Paul's choices right there. Florida, Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Alabama. And John Hudson, 70% vaccine. Austin. See, I have two screens. So I'm looking at my second screen here. All right. So here is the list of those 5 states that are going to be hit by hyper-localized. That sounds terrifying. Hyper-localized outbreaks of the Delta variant. Let's see. According to the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, 46.1% of the total U.S. population has been vaccinated against COVID. Here's the 5 states, everyone. Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and of course, Wyoming are among the states with the lowest vaccination rates, with less than 35% of their population fully vaccinated. So once again, you get the 2 A's. You get 2 of these A's, Alabama and Arkansas, Louisiana and Mississippi, not hard to believe, and Wyoming, less than 35%. Those states are going to have hyper-localized outbreaks of COVID-19, of the Delta variant. So there you go. Don't go to those states. I wasn't planning to go to those states, to tell you the truth. Scott Duke says, I'm surprised that Georgia and Florida aren't on that list. Well, it just shows you, it's a sliding scale. Perhaps, Scott Duke. Maybe it's a sliding scale. Those states have under 35% of vaccination. I wonder what Florida's is. Or Georgia. You missed them all. Well, we'll give you a bonus 5 points just for playing, right? No one goes home without something in their pocket. You get 5 points just for playing. Let's see. Yeah. 70% vaccinated Oxygen. I did not know that. The thing is, and this is what I've been saying, is that I also live in a community there's a high vaccination rate. So even when there are people coming in and out of the area, I think our total vaccination rate is still going to be pretty high. David Paul, you got Arkansas and Alabama, sir. You got Arkansas and Alabama and Mississippi, right? So that's 3. That's 3 out of 5. Job well done. Hyper-localized in Denmark would be 1 house. Yes. Well, that's the interesting thing about, and I was listening to this on NPR, National Public Radio, that due to how transmissible the Delta variant is in places like India, for an example, it'll hit everyone in the household. So it isn't just one person coming down with COVID. Because the Delta variant is so transmissible, everyone in the household gets hit. Whole families can be affected. Let's see, just catching up on the chat. Wyoming. Yes, I believe the governor, wasn't there a huge motorcycle? There was a huge rally, right, in Wyoming months in the midst of the dark days of the pandemic. I remember that there was a motorcycle party, rally, conference. I don't think the conference is the right word. Festival in Wyoming. And the governor's like, yeah, people can make choices about masks or not. That's what I am. I am a ray of freaking sunshine. All right. We're getting close to the end of the show. Let's do something funny. You want to do something funny? Let's do something.
So TikTok came out with this great filter where it shows what your animal's thinking about. What are you thinking about, huh? Oh!
Maybe that hedgehog is Canadian. Was that a reference to those Catholic churches being burned in Canada? Maybe it was. Maybe it was a reference, my own reference to that. So what did we cover this today, everyone? Once again, for those of you who are here, who are watching, thank you because I screwed up the first show. I just screwed it up, hit the wrong button, tried to do too many things all at once without practicing beforehand. That was a mistake. Thank you, ADHD. We covered Clarence Thomas, Justice Thomas, pro-pot, or at least anti-ridiculous federal laws. California has travel bans against other states in the union. The band that Right Wing Watch had to deal with, it's now back on YouTube, but only after a public outcry. And of course, the Delta variant affecting those 5 states. Hyper-localized infections, everyone. My name is Andrew Hall. You can call me Dr. Kennard. We're doing the after party after show. I'm not going to mess that up. I'm not going to mess up the after party after show. Promise. 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 I'm going to show the thank you video for my patrons and YouTube members. Take care, everyone. I'll see you at 10, hopefully. And if you want to join in on the panel, there's a link in that video's description to jump in and join us and talk. So D Park wants to send me a taxidermy frog. D, we're friends on Facebook, aren't we, D? I think we are. You can just send me a message, right? And I'll send you the information. How's that? And I will be setting up Amazon list because I do need some equipment, right? Some equipment to help me do things. But D Parks, if there's also a link to an email on the about page here, but I think we're friends, D, on Facebook. So you can just send me a message and I'll send you the relevant information. Wow, 15 comments. This is like the after party. This is the show here afterwards. And higher vaccination. Oh, well, Vesta. Yeah. Recent poll in Alberta, recent vaccination rates amongst the better educated. That makes sense. All right. I'm really ending the show now. I'll see you at 10 o'clock, everyone.